Hello and welcome to Jazz Across the Pond. Jazz Interviews Reimagined, a brand new and a very exciting bringing together of two great nations. It's jazz talking like you've never seen or you've heard it before. I think it's about time now. From the United Kingdom to the United States of America, we welcome our very, very special guest. Here's a track from the man himself.
Hi, this is American soul urban jazz trumpeter, producer, and composer Lynn Rountree from Detroit, Michigan, and you're watching me on Jazz Across the Pond with the Jazz Cat and Mr. G. I hope you do enjoy.
We have just been listening to the most amazing track, incredible track. We've been toe tapping like mad here. It's from an incredible album called Fluid. The track is called Release, and we've got the man himself there. Well, what can we say about this week's very, very special guest, the soul trumpeter, Lynn Rountree, born September the 15th, 1971 in New York City. He was born to Linwood and Yvonne Rountree. He and his family then moved to Alexandria, Virginia. Lynn is an American soul urban jazz trumpeter, record producer, and composer. Apart from being an accomplished recording artist, producer, and a live performer with seven amazing solo albums as well, including 16 chart-topping Billboard singles, including, ready for this, 2 Billboard #1 hits, and numerous collaborations with some of the industry's top R&B contemporary jazz artists to his credit. He is poised to be one of the most renowned artists of his generation. Ladies and gentlemen, Jazz Across the Pond are proud and very, very pleased to welcome the man himself, Mr. Lynn Rountree, to our show. Good evening, sir.
Hey, guys! I appreciate having me, and thank you for the warm welcome and the historical trip through everything Lynn Roundtree. Thank you.
No, well, we've got so much to discuss. I know Kevin is itching to start asking questions on that. Look, so we're going to crack straight on with it.
Sure,
Right,
let's do it.
okay then. Here we go then. Lynn Rountree began playing trumpet in Alexandria, Virginia when he was just 11 years old.
Yep,
He
yep.
attended music development program at the Duke Ellington School for Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. Upon his graduation from high school, Lynn was recruited to the music program at Florida A&W University, where he performed for the famed Marching 100. Now, good evening. Hi, welcome on. Our followers, our listeners would love to know more about. Can you tell us about your childhood and your introduction to music, please? Did you come
Oh,
from a musical
okay.
family? And where did the trumpet come from?
Well, that's a very interesting story, and I'm sure you'll find some humor in it. I come from a partly musical family. My parents loved to listen to music. As far as performing music, they were a little lacking. But my dad did on the side play the guitar, and early on when he was in school, he played the cornet, which was his
Mm.
mother's cornet when she passed when he was just a youngster. She gave him the cornet that he played, and he carried it with him everywhere throughout his career or throughout his coming up in the world. And when I was born, of course, we had this room. Everyone has a room that's it's the white room, and everything's beautiful, and you can't go in that room and do anything. And so it was told to me, you got everything, a lot of space in this house. There's one room you can't go in. In fact, if you go in here, just come kind of go through. And especially there's something on that mantelpiece is that cornet that you cannot touch. And if you touch it, you're in trouble. Of course, for a kid, that's it's like just
Oh,
burning through my
great.
head every time I walk past this room. So as I got older, I got to about the fourth, fifth grade. One day I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go in here and see what this thing's all about. And I picked it up, and I'd seen people play the trumpet, but I didn't know what this little thing was. This cornet. I mean, it doesn't look like a trumpet. It's just, I got to grab it. I got to touch it. So pulled it down, looked at it, messed it around, played it on a little bit, and put it back on the mantelpiece. Of course, my dad, who's the master. This is before Star Wars was even the thing. He was the original Jedi mind master, and he had put, I guess, a pin on it and to see if it moved or not. And of course, when he came home, he confronted me about it. He said, "So you touched the cornet hat, did you?" And I said, "Well, yeah. You're not gonna lie, I did." And he said, "Well, your penance now is you have to play it, and you gotta stick with it." And my dad's whole thing was, you stick with everything, don't quit until you've actually absolutely understood what you're doing. And then you make the conscious effort to quit. You don't quit because it's something you can't do or you're tired of. And he said, "So this is something that you're going to do and see it through." And so I said, "Okay." He said, "But you're not taking that cornet. I'm going to get you a nice little Bundy trumpet and get you started." So that was my introduction into the trumpet. I was kind of forced and sort of Jedi mind game into playing the trumpet. But when I played it, and I got that note out, I don't know if anybody plays golf, but you struggle and you try to hit the ball, but when you hit that one nice shot, you can hit a million bad shots, but that one nice shot keeps you coming back, and that's the way it was with the trumpet. When I got that one note out, and it just sounded so beautiful, clean, and pure, I said, "Wow, man!" And I'm still trying to hit that one note. I can't replicate. Still going after that one beautiful note, but the feeling that I got when I played the note, and I was able to get some sound out of it, it made me feel good, and that's what kept me on the trumpet. And interesting story, when I graduated, obviously I'd gotten deep into the trumpet and music, and upon graduation, my dad gave me that cornet and said, "Hey,
Wow.
this is for you." He was like, "You still can't play it," he said, "but put it on your mantelpiece, wherever you go." And to this day, it's on my mantelpiece in my front room. Of course, things are different. My daughter
Right.
doesn't care about playing it. All she wants to do is be on TikTok and all that stuff. And so we can't replicate that. But it's still in my mantle. It's on my mantle right now, and it's led me to this. And of course, I haven't gotten to the point where I want to quit yet. Even though playing the trumpet is very difficult, you want to quit every day. But I haven't gotten there yet. So
Well,
I'm
Lynn,
pretty
I will
grateful
say,
for
I will say this much. I will say this much. You're lucky it wasn't an accordion on that trumpet.
that. Yeah, right. Exactly.
But thank the Lord it was a trumpet.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Amen.
well, Lynn, obviously you learned a lot of life lessons from your dad. Those life lessons actually continued as you went on to college, and you talk a little bit about in some of your bio information about being at Florida A&M. You cite the importance of acquiring the abilities to practice, prepare, and perform. Gosh, I have heard that 100 times
Yeah, yeah,
myself. I was classically trained.
yeah,
Same thing. Obviously, they're tightly intertwined.
yeah, yeah,
And that was something that you developed while you were at Florida A&M. But the other thing, and you started to touch on it a little bit, but it was also during your years of college, you developed a keen interest in jazz
yep,
and conducted a deep dive into the works of legendary jazz trumpeters Miles Davis, Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan, and Tom Brown.
yep.
Of course, it could have been Art Farmer, and you'd be playing a trumpet, but that's okay too.
Yeah.
But if you would share with our viewers how Miles, Freddie, Lee, and Tom's music impacted not only your playing style, but also your compositional skills.
I actually got to meet Art Farmer about a year
Get
before
out
he
of
passed
here.
away. It's the first time I spent about an hour with him. One of the best hours of my life. He was playing at Dakota Grill in Minneapolis, and nobody was there. I mean, it
Oh,
was
wow.
two people there to see him. And he goes back in the break room, and I know I'm digressing, but he
No.
goes back in the break room, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Farmer, can I come in?" He said, "Yeah, come on in." And he started to tell me stories about the old days and how things were. So
Wow.
that's a great story. But it's interesting you said that name. But yeah, it was when I got to Florida A&M, it was about you had to make everything was hard. Everything was a challenge in that band because they had just come back from Paris, France, from marching and from the Welch's grape commercial. So they were they were high in themselves, and rightfully so. They were a great band, and there's already a rich tradition of people who could really really play and perform and do the things at a very high level. And coming out of high school, when I was recruited in, I felt great. Oh yeah, man, I'm recruited into the band, and I must be good. When I got there, everyone was better than me. So I said, "Wow, this is going to be a challenge." And then they said, you gotta almost kind of pledge the band. You can't. You got to wear a white T-shirt every day. You gotta do this much study on your horn. You got to learn how to march. You got to do all this stuff that they threw at you, and it was nothing but practice, practice. We were there 3 weeks before the entire campus, so we had nothing to do and it's hot down in Florida, so you had nothing to do but sweat, practice, and be sore, and be immersed thoroughly in your music. But once we got through that and we understood the value of all of that practicing and being able to play. So I don't know if you see me in public and my performances, but I'm running around the stage and I'm up and I'm down, and most trumpet players kind of sit back and stand behind the mic. Well, that taught me how to move around and actually give a performance, because we had to move and do all that stuff. In fact, to get on the field every show, we called shaking. We would do something what we called shaking the tree, and you'd have to stand in front of the entire band. There's like 300 people in the band. You stand in front of the entire band. You represent, maybe you and another trumpet player representing the trumpets, and a couple other people from other sections, and you had to do the entire show right there in front of everybody, playing the notes, dancing, doing all the stuff. And if you didn't muster up, if you didn't measure up, you didn't march. And that was plain and simple. So everything was hard work there. And so inherently you learn that nothing is given to you. You have to work hard for everything, because I think that's just the way things are. And then being with everybody, being in such an esteemed band, this is a band where Cannonball Adderley and Nat Adderley both attended, and they were instructors there. So this is deep, rich history. Wyclef Gordon was there. He had just graduated. Winton used to come down and do clinics all the time. So there was an immersion in jazz. And, of course, coming out of high school, I kind of knew, because I played some big band stuff and, some musicals. I was always in the pit playing the musicals, and we played some jazz. It was cute. But when I got down there, it was real.
Yes,
And these
serious
guys,
jazz.
these guys were serious, man. I mean, you walk in the halls, the picture of Cannonball Adderley's right there, and so these guys were serious. And so, and you had some awesome trumpet players. And, I said, I'm not going to be them, but I can be me, because this really introduces, it's really means a lot to me. I mean, I'm really interested in it and learning more about it. And so the knowledge was there, the access was there for us to learn about jazz. And of course, they start passing around these tapes of jazz musicians. The first real jazz guy that I actually listened to, I didn't even list in my bio, but there was a Clifford Brown CD, or not CD, it was a tape.
Right.
So we had this tape, and then John Faddis. Everyone wanted to listen to John Faddis because he was playing so high, and that was, can you hit a high note? Can you hit a high note? But then when I got this Clifford tape, I said, man, his sound is so pure, it's so beautiful. It just, his ideas are effortless. What is he doing? What is he doing? And so then I started trying to figure out what it is he's doing. When I realized what he was doing, I realized I couldn't do it at that point. Then I went to somebody that was more accessible. Again, not saying that he was less technically proficient, but on the trumpet, he was more accessible, easier to listen to, easier to kind of follow. That's Miles Davis. And so that's when I started to follow and listen to a lot of Miles Davis. And of course, with me, it's not just the music. I always get stressed how these guys used to live. So you want to find out, okay, how did they live? How did they get to the point where they were masters? Because they didn't start out. I want to know what they did. So we read books, we listened to stories. We were immersed in jazz down there, and from Miles, when I left school, I got into Freddie, and from Freddie I got into Woody. From Woody I got into see what the modern guys are doing. Donald Byrd, because he's doing because I was always an R&B, hip hop guy, and I guess I'm going ahead of where you probably want the interview to go, but that's what started me on the path to playing R&B. But it was all jazz all the time when we were there, and then when I graduated as well, I picked it back up. So that's
And
how.
let's not forget Mr. Roy Hargrove as well. We'll throw his name in there.
Oh my God, Roy! That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Go
So
ahead, Roger.
I link Roy and I link Lee Morgan together, and I link
Yes,
people like
true that.
like Freddie Hubbard and Nicholas Payton together. Because they have that virtuosity, but as far as the raw and the grit and the soul, man, Roy had it, man. Roy had it,
No
and,
doubt.
and he got it from Lee Morgan. He got it from Fats Navarro. He got it from Clifford Brown. These guys, man.
What we're
So
gonna
Diz, you can't leave out Diz, man. Diz,
Oh yeah.
he wasn't recorded as well as some of these guys, because when they made these old those recordings, technology wasn't there, so it's kind of hard to listen to. But he was one of the most soulful, most funky guys out there, and could play anything, man. So
Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to ask you a very quick question. We're then going to take a quick break then to listen to another track of yours, because we just want to get everyone to not only listen to yourself, but also listen to your music as well. So after receiving your bachelor's science degree in business administration, you found your home then at Detroit, Michigan, where you formed a band and performed extensively through that region. In 2004, saw the release of your debut CD, Rountree, on an independent label. Now, it was met with international acclaim. So before we play another track from your fabulous album, Fluid, can you very briefly just tell us what it was like working with this band and that decision to ultimately leave the band and go solo?
Well, I didn't leave the band. The band, the CD came out of need for finances actually, because when I left, at the end of all of my shows, everyone would be so happy about us playing. We were a classic cover band. They say, "Hey man, you have a CD? We want to buy a CD." Me, the business guy that I'm thinking, I said, "Well, maybe I should have a CD if everyone continues to ask me for a CD." So
Yeah.
I got a QI 100. I put tinkered some noises together, but I luckily hooked up with some good producers who heard where I was going with the music. They put the music together, and voila, came out this CD called Rountree. It was all stuff that I just kind of wrote to sell at at my gigs, after my gigs. But then Tim Bowman, I know,
Mhm.
gentleman everyone's familiar with. He was the hottest guitar
Mm.
player at the time.
Yeah.
He had come and seen some of my shows, and he and his brother were like, "This guy is doing something here. He's not where he should be, or where we, to be out there, but he's really trying. He's doing something." So he did me a solid and played on my first CD on a song called "For Your Love." And that's what really got the promoter's attention, because he was the hottest thing smoking when I released that CD. And so they were saying, "Oh, another Tim Bowman track. Let's hear it." Well, wait a minute, it's not. This is Lynn Rountree. Who's this Lynn Rountree guy? And so that's what got programmers and people like yourself to actually open up the package, and that's what started my whole recorded portion of my career. But that's what got me going, and
Brilliant.
realized, hey man, I might be onto something here.
Yeah, Tim Bowman he's a former guest on my radio
Is
show
it?
in
Yeah.
England. So,
Yeah.
and he was such a lovely gentleman. We were chatting about all his albums. That's brilliant. What we're going to do now, for our followers now, we're going to play a second track from your fabulous album, Fluid. We're going to pick a track called Me for Me. And then we'll be straight back with this wonderful and the man himself. We've got a lot more to discuss. Time is ticking away, so we've really got to cram a lot into this one. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jazz Across the Pond with myself, the Jazz Cat from the United Kingdom. We've got Mr. G from the United States of America there, and we've got the man himself, Mr. Lynn Rountree. Sit back, have a listen to this track. We'll be back momentarily.
First time that I saw your face, I knew that you were trouble, but pursued anyway. Guess a part of me attracts the type, the one who only wants me in the dark of the night. So I tell myself there'll be somebody else, but I fall so hard anyway. When I try to leave, I can't seem to find the key, 'cause it's all wrapped up in your heart, yeah. Sorry, but I gotta go, and you really ought to know that I'm doing this for me. Because when it comes to love, it seems I'm always out of luck, and I really want to find who loves me for me. Flashback to a time when I was so deep in love, I felt the butterflies. But he opened up my eyes to show me things about myself I pushed aside. So I take the time to free my mind and to heal the hurt in my heart, yeah. But it seems that I'm searching for what I won't find, and maybe love's just not in the cards, yeah, yeah. But I gotta go,
Welcome back to Jazz Across the Pond, Jazz Interviews Reimagined with the Jazz Cat and Mr. G. We've been listening to Meet for Me, featuring the incredible Ms. Lindsay Webster from the solid 2021 Project Fluid by our guest, Mr. Lynn Rountree. Lynn, congratulations on the incredible ride you've been having with Fluid and, of course, with Trippin' and Rhythm Records.
Yep.
All the accolades, brother, are so deserved. One of the things that I noticed about Fluid is that you utilize multiple outstanding producers, including Michael Browning, Chris Big Dog Davis, and Matt Godina. If you would share with our viewers, how was it working with multiple producers on Fluid, and how were their talents and their contacts leveraged for the respective tracks they produced?
Well, it's when you get to your seventh CD, you know, especially being a producer, like I'm a producer, you have a keen understanding of how to put a record together, how to put a track together. I mean, you've done it numerous times in numerous different ways. So just being familiar with how that stuff comes together helps. And again, having 7 CDs means you've done a lot of producing yourself, and you're looking for different sounds and different inspirations, because you want to you don't want to keep repeating yourself. Right. And so, I had worked with Michael on the previous CD on a song called Pass the Groove. And we realized from that track that we completed in less than 2 hours that we had some synergy. And so on this project, we said we were going to go into it. Hey, Mike, you're going to be, you're going to oversee this thing. You're going to help out with the production, because Mike really, really knows that contemporary jazz sound. Yes. But coupled with the groove and the production and the way I like to hear things, it was just a marriage made in heaven. And so, everything was easy. It wasn't difficult. He would send me a track and I'd say, I like this. And I played this, and he said, well, I knew you were going to go there because we had worked together. So I'm happy you went there. I'm going to take it even further. I'm going to go here. And I said, well, I knew you were going to go there. That's why I left that. And so it was just easy to go with. Right. And then the first time I ever worked with Big Dog Davis was on this CD. Wow. We ended up doing 3 tracks because the same thing happened when he sent me the track. I sent him back a rough, and he said, this is exactly what I heard. He was like, I sent this track to a lot of different people, but this is what I heard on this track. And I said, well, man, I told you when I heard it, it's right up my alley. This is what this is my groove, my vibe. And so the same thing occurred. We went back and forth. I think it was even less work with him. I played. He said, well, send me what you got. I got it. And out pops the whole song. So, because Big Dog likes to be, self-sufficient in a lot of things. So, and the same thing with Matt and I were contemporaries. We kind of worked together on other people's projects. So we already had a familiarity with each other and how we worked. And, I actually went to Matt. I said, hey, Matt, I need some more of that soul, man, that you got. Cause I'm tapped with ideas. All my stuff is starting to sound the same. And he sends his 2 tracks. He said, man, these are some tracks, whatever. I said, dude, I love these. He didn't hear it. And that's the beauty of working with other producers. Right. He didn't hear it. He said, man, this is just some stuff I got laying around. I was like, man, I hear this all day. One of those tracks was the Me for Me track that you just heard with Lindsay on it. And, I heard that. I said, man, we got to get some vocals on this. Didn't know who, but, I did a show in Algarve, Portugal. And she was there, and she and I kind of linked up. I had this first time I really spent some time with her and really heard her and seen her show. And that song just popped in my head. And I said, I got a track for you, Lindsay. She was like, oh, I'm all about it. And, she knocked it out as well. I mean, she sent me back. I said, that's really what it is. So in a nutshell, to answer your question, it was easy working with these guys. One, because of the experience that all of us have, but because our styles fit with each other. Gotcha. So well.
Well, Lynn, you're a very sought-after performer, both live and recording with numerous top artists in various genres, including Kem. We have the late George Duke, Julian Vaughn, Mike Phillips, Tim Bowman. We've already mentioned a great and Neil Niles. I mean, he was a guest on our show only a few months ago, and a wonderful one. Darren Rand and Utam. Now, apart from that, in 2012, you also appeared in a hit film called Sparkle, starring the late Whitney Houston and CeeLo Green. Now, tell us what it was like, one. I mean, from all you suddenly to appear on the big screen film, but also working with some of these legendary people. Can you just tell us more about that, please?
Oh man, I that was just lucky. I mean, I guess I was there's a gentleman named Kern Brantley. He's the music director for a lot of people. His brother's the music director for Usher, and so he's in that business. But he's from from Detroit, and he's sort of like an ambassador for Detroit and Detroit musicians, and people come to him asking for musicians, and he gives them out, and they get gigs, and so he's kind of like the conduit for the national people. And I guess they came to him because when they were shooting Sparkle, they wanted to shoot it in Detroit, because we haven't feel without having to build a whole movie set. Just rented out one of the old clubs, and they didn't do much of the club. Looked like it was right straight out of the 50s. But they also, it's having seen so many music movies, all these other movies, they saw the musicians didn't look real. They were actors. They didn't know how to hold the horns, and it just didn't. They wanted a real feel, because they said, we're doing a movie in Motown. We want some real musicians. Hey, Kern, who do you got? That's a real musician. And Kern put out this whole, hey, come try out. And, of course, he was like, Rountree, come try out. You got the gig, but try out anyway. I hope the other musicians don't see this thing. But, he said, you got it. Just come down and give us your bio. And then I got it. So it pays to know people and to treat people well. I tell everyone all the time. But, I had no idea. I'd never been on a movie set. I don't know what the heck was going on. So I get there. And I got to get into to rehearse this. You got to rehearse a scene, and I walk in there, and Jordan Sparks is sitting there stretching. I mean, this is the American Idol, beautiful young lady, and my mouth is like, I'm like, is this real? I mean, what's going on? And so we were considered extras, right? So we're not supposed to talk to any of the stars walking by. Whitney walked by. Everyone will walk by, and it was just they had their own things. But when they saw us on stage and we actually started playing some of the music that they sent us, because we're musicians, we thought we were supposed to learn all this music, and then they said, no, you're just supposed to, kind of finger it and get the movements. When they saw us, we learned the music. We were actually playing the music and doing the movements at the same time. The directors were like, whoa, this is actually what we wanted, but we didn't know we'd get this. We didn't know you guys would learn the music. So we thought we were supposed to learn the music. Well, I didn't send you any charts. Doesn't matter. We're Motown. We heard everything. And so they moved us from extras to actual, they put us on the roster. And I guess I don't know the terminology, but that's why my name is listed in the credits on Sparkle, because they upped us, I guess. So then we could talk and speak with the lead actors and conversations. And so we weren't considered extras anymore. We got more money. We got scale. We actually got some scale. And so, that was a great experience. We got a chance to sit down and talk with Mike Epps, and I sat and talked with CeeLo, and people we knew in common, and I mean, it was just great. And Kim was on the set for a little bit, and we all talked, and just being around that, it was very, very. After you got over the awe, and I can't believe I'm sitting here next to these people talking to them. After you got through that, you realized, hey man, this is inspirational. I want to do more of this. I want to be more of this. I want to be a bigger guy. So that gives you more inspiration to do your thing. And to move further. But then when the movie actually comes out and you see yourself on the big screen, it's just, I mean, it's a surreal feeling. I mean, you see yourself on the screen and you've been there in that one scene, probably doing that for 8 hours, in a corner. But then, the scene is only 30 seconds, but it's still mesmerizing to see yourself on that screen doing that. And so it's an experience that I'll never, ever, ever forget. And I appreciate and cherish, and it's given me added to the motivation I have to continue to push forward in this music and this business.
Well, certainly United Kingdom, if there's any films, it's called the equity card. And unless you've got an equity card, you're not allowed to talk on a film. You have to stay
Exactly, silent. Yeah. Exactly. But I guess it's consistent.
Well, just to let you know, Ed, and I don't even know, but Daniel Craig is stepping down as the James Bond. They're looking for a new James Bond.
Oh wow! Because I just saw that he was great. Yeah, he's great. they wrote him out. So I'll call my agent and tell him.
Time is running out. Kevin, please jump in, please.
Yeah, Lynn, I'm going to drop back just a little bit. In 2018, you released your monster project, Stronger Still. It had an incredible list of featured musicians, including Marcus Anderson, Adam Hawley, Skinny Hightower, David B. Stevens, and a vocalist that I found very, very fascinating, Miss Jessica Jolia. Mm-hmm. And you pick up your first #1 Billboard single, which was Pass the Groove. Now, Pass the Groove also finished at the number 26 spot on Billboard's 2018 year-ending Top 50 Smooth Jazz chart. Now, earlier this year, we talked about Fluid. Now, and we've talked about a few of the people that are on it, but let's just give it a rundown. You had guest artists. We talked about Michael Broining, Skinny Hightower, Gary Honor from Australia. And we've talked about, you've got two vocalists. We've mentioned Lindsay, and we've also mentioned, we haven't mentioned, but Selena Albright, who is the daughter of Gerald Albright. Fluid also generated your second #1 Billboard single, which we played at the beginning of the interview release. It reached #1 on September the 4th, so congratulations there. Now, if you would, share with our viewers, and I know we're running out of time, and I know this could be a very complex answer, but what is it about the corporate environment at Trippin' and Rhythm Records that has served you so well? I mean, granted, you've been a producer, you've produced your own projects, but it just seems like things have just taken off for you ever since they recruited you, you signed the contract. It's been magical. It's been a magical ride.
Well, it's a testament to their philosophy, and I think Trippin, they were developing artists. They've moved into helping artists that are established refine their music, refine themselves, and give them a bigger mouthpiece or a bigger sounding board to reach more people, a bigger platform to reach more people. And I think that's what they did when they came to me. Like I said, I already had 3 CDs out. And I knew the game, somewhat. I knew the radio promotions and all that other stuff. So it wasn't a learning curve as far as that was concerned. I kind of went into it with my eyes open, knowing about the business. And they told me, they said, hey, if you're willing to be on this long ride with us, this is our mission. Our mission is to take what you have, and you got a bullhorn now. Hey, this is Lynn Rountree. This is Lynn Rountree. We've got a big mega sound system. So you pretty much kind of do the same thing, but now you got a sound system. We just want you to continue to do what you're doing and continue to grow. And we're going to provide you with whoever you need to grow, with whomever you need to grow. And what you put in is what you're going to get out of it, I think. And so that's the philosophy with Trippin' and Rhythm Records, and minded individuals on the label, and them just allowing you to utilize, hey, what's your strength, what do you do well. We're going to get behind that. Obviously you continue to work on what you need to improve, but we're not going to worry about what you don't have. We're going to work what you have, and we're going to add to it. And I think that's the major underlying philosophy behind that.
Well, that's amazing. Okay, and Lady Time is not on our side, unfortunately. Once again, time has run away from itself, and it's such an amazing, wonderful interview and of great insight. So, Lynn, for our followers, where can they purchase your music? Where can they buy the CDs? Because they can't go down to a local CD shop now. So where can they obtain and get hold of, either by downloading or purchasing your CDs? Where can they get them from, please?
Well, it starts off, you can start right off. You're starting in on my website, linrountreemusic.com. It's LIN, Rountree with no D, ROUNTREE music.com. And from there, it has every link imaginable to be able to either stream. You set me up as a channel when you stream, or all the outlets to be able to purchase physical copies or download digital copies. Right there from my website. It'll take you to, it's got hyperlinks everywhere and take it everywhere. Also, you come on and sign up for my newsletter, and I give regular updates as to what I'm doing, where I'll be. You see my tour schedule. Hopefully get over there at some point. Open up. I've had a great year. You wouldn't think it was COVID the way my schedule has been this past summer, which was a blessing. Thank you so much. Look forward to a bigger year next year. So, but yeah, from linrountreemusic.com. From there, it's got my social websites, all my social sites and everything is where you can get all that stuff.
Well, fabulous. I mean, I know Kevin plays a lot of your music on the great Smooth Jazz Train out of Richmond, Virginia. I play a lot of your music on Jazz Moods on a Wednesday night here in the United Kingdom. Now, all 7 albums are stunning. It's very difficult to, they are all stunning albums. Lynn, it has been an absolute joy to have you on our show with ourselves. It has really been. So on behalf of everybody here, Jazz Across the Pond, Lynn, thank you so much for joining us.
The blessings to all of you, and thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't be able to, like I said, connect with your listeners and your people. So you are essential to everything that we do, and we thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
That's very kind. Amen. Say goodnight, Kevin.
Good night, Kevin.
And it's good night from me. It's good night from Lynn Rountree. Jazz Across the Pond. We'll be back very, very soon. For everyone here, take care. Goodbye.